Hello engineers, welcome to the 19th lecture of our ASME BPVC Section-VIII Division-1 Code Training Series. Today we will be diving into the UG30, that is attachment of stiffener rings. So let's get started guys. So the first point in this is stiffener rings can be positioned either inside or outside of the vessel and must be securely attached to the shell using welding or brazing. Here you can see that stiffener ring is attached outside of the vessel and stiffener ring attached inside of the vessel in this picture. Okay, so we can use any one of this method according to our application and conditions. Okay, either we can weld outside the vessel or we can place inside the vessel. Okay, and it must be securely attached to the shell using welding or brazing. So most commonly we will use welding only guys. Most of the industries will prefer welding operation only. So brazing is an option if the vessel will not undergo stress relief later. So that too we will use the brazing operation for smaller pressure applications only. Okay, and the stiffener rings can be attached to the shell using continuous welds or intermediate welds or combination of both as well as brazing. So here you can see either we can do inline intermediate welds or staggered intermediate welds or continuous fillet welds on one side and one side intermediate. So any of this any of this welding operations can be performed to attach stiffener ring to the vessel. Okay, and next one, intermediate. So intermediate welding shall be placed on both sides of the stiffener or may be either staggered inline. You can see here inline intermediate welding can be happen. So if you see here, so both sides of the welding in same position. Okay, but here it is in zigzag way. So any of this intermediate welding can be accepted as per the code, and the length of the individual fillet weld segments shall not be less than 2 inches guys. So whatever your welding length, that shall be at least 2 inches. Okay, it shall not less than the 2 inches guys. Okay, and next one, the maximum clear spacing between toys of the adjacent weld of the 80 for external rings and 20 for internal rings. So what does it mean? What does this point means? So if we attach stiffener ring outside the vessel, so whatever the welding we are doing, so that weld to weld distance is maximum acceptable limit is 80 for external rings. So if we attach the stiffener ring outside the vessel, so the weld to weld distance shall be less than 80. We cannot exceed 80. Okay. Or if we attach stiffener ring inside of the vessel, then our weld to weld distance shall be less than 12T guys. So this is the conditions we need to follow. Okay. And the total length of the weld on each side of the stiffener ring shall be not less than one half of the outside circumference. So for example, if we attach stiffener ring outside the pressure vessel, if we calculate total length, so here we are telling the 2 inches, right? So if we calculate this will total weld length throughout the circumference of the stiffener ring, it shall not less than one half of the outside circumference. It shall not less than one half of the outside circumference of the vessel, guys. So remember this point. And it shall not less than one third the circumference of the vessel for rings on the inside. If we attach the stiffener ring inside the vessel, then our total length of the weld shall be not less than one third of the circumference inside the vessel. So for outside the vessel, it is one half of the circumference. For inside the vessel, it is one by third. So if you are working in manufacturing or welding fabrication industry, pressure vessel industry, you need to must follow these guidelines while attaching the stiffener ring to the pressure vessel. So these are the important point, guys. And next one is a continuous full penetration weld is permitted at these locations. So if you see here, you can perform continuous full penetration welds also. Okay, and next point is continuous fillet welding or brazing on one side of the stiffener. So continuous fillet welding means this point. So continuous fillet welding can be performed in our one side, and another side intermediate welding can be performed. When we can perform this type of welding, if our width of the stiffener ring and the thickness of the stiffener ring is not more than 25 mm, that is 1 inch. So then only this type of welding is acceptable. Otherwise, it is not acceptable as per ASME BPVC Section-VIII Division-1 code. Okay, and the weld segment must be at least 2 inches, guys. So if we compare these three, you see here inline intermediate weld and zigzag intermediate weld. The length of the weld is 2 inches here and here, and the distance between weld to eye is 80 for external and 20 for internal, right? So in previous slide we studied, right? But in this welding, 2 inches for weld end it is common, and but the distance between weld to weld is 24 times of T. It is the maximum permissible limit. Okay, why here more permissible limit given means one side we are doing continuous welding, so that's why it is given. But for this condition, it is 80 and 20, so like that. Okay, so you must remember this point. That too, we can do this type of welding if your width and the thickness of our stiffener ring must be less than or equal to 1 inch, that is 25 mm. So I hope you got my point. And the minimum size of the attachment wheels. So minimum size of the attachment wheels. So here we are seeing the fillet wheels, right? So what is the size from here to here? What is the minimum leg size, minimum fillet size? Okay. So let's see. So fillet weld leg size shall not be less than the smallest of these three, 1 by 4 inch, and vessel thickness at the weld location. This is the vessel, right? So this is the welding location. At this location, we need to measure the vessel thickness, and at this location, we need to measure the stiffener ring thickness. Whichever is lesser, that that shall be considered as a fillet weld. So our fillet weld leg size must be greater than the smaller of these three values. Okay, I hope you got my point. So by following these guidelines, we ensure the structural integrity and effectiveness of the stiffener ring attachment to the vessel. By adhering to these specifications, you can achieve a secure and reliable weld that meets the necessary standards for the vessel construction. I hope you can understand this. You understand this UG30 attachment of stiffener rings. If you like the content, if you like the way of explanation, so please hit the like button and subscribe my channel. Stay tuned for more interesting videos. Thank you. Jai Hind.